Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live question and answer class, where I take your questions regarding American English pronunciation and American accent. Feel free to leave your questions at any time in the chat, and I'll answer them for you. If you're watching as a replay and not live, you can leave your questions in the comments. I will return to those and get back to you with an answer. At the beginning today, I want to keep talking about our theme we've been discussing lately, which is spelling and sounds. And I'm going to use the words busy and business as examples to help you with this. So looking at the word busy, this is an example of kind of an atypical spelling. Usually letter U is going to say the sound, like the schwa, like for example in stuff or such, or it's going to say the oo sound like in blue, or the sound like in put or push. In busy, it says the sound, which we typically spell with letter I. So I've rewritten that for you here with the letter I. Also, letter S says z, the Z sound in this word. Letter S does often say Z at the ends of words, sometimes in the middle. It can also say some other sounds. So in this word, thinking of it as rewriting it as a Z might be helpful for you. Just make sure your voice is on, biz, busy. And then lastly, letter Y at the ends of words typically does say the E vowel. What you need to watch out for in a word like busy is that your mouth might want to do kind of busy, two of the same vowels, or busy. So if you have trouble with the I and E combination, check out my video for talking about city and pretty. That's going to help you with those I and E combos. And most typical pattern is that people will, as I mentioned, try to use two of the same vowels here. Your mouth wants to assimilate those. So a solution for that is to just try saying biz by itself, and then separately say E, biz, E, and notice that my I is more relaxed, my tongue is lower, my E is more tense, and my tongue is higher, busy. A similar word, we have the word business. Even though it looks kind of like it should be busyness, we actually only have two syllables in this word. So it's just business with two syllables. This letter I doesn't make any sound in this word. So we have the same biz that we have in busy. And then for the N-E-S-S, you can say it business with an sound, but more accurate is to use the I sound because that nis syllable has a reduced vowel. It's unstressed and short. So thinking of that as business, same vowel sound in both. This one is long and this one is short. When we have two letter S's, we do typically say that as a S sound. So you'll see it as an S here, versus one letter S can often be the Z sound. So everyday words like busy and business, these are usually probably ones that you might have been saying them correctly with the correct vowels and just had to learn the spelling that was unusual. If you learned them from reading, though, it's helpful to rewrite them and think of them as this kind of spelling to get the sounds correct. Also, just a few accent error patterns to watch out for in these words. I do have videos for busy and business elsewhere on the channel. You can get a little more in-depth help for those. Today, they were just useful to demonstrate how letters and sounds are not the same thing. We need to pay attention to sounds for pronunciation and, of course, letters for spelling. Great. Thank you for being here. Welcome, everyone. Do feel free to leave your questions in the chat at any time. I'll turn to those now and begin answering them for you. So we have a question about nouns and verbs, the rule to know what is what. So just generally speaking, a noun is going to be a person, place, or thing. And a verb is going to be an action. When it comes to pronunciation of nouns and verbs, it's going to vary, but we do have a number of videos talking about words that are the same as a noun or a verb. For example, if I have the noun record, I have a record of it, then I have first syllable stress. If I'm gonna record something, I have second syllable stress. So there are some words that are spelled the same as nouns and verbs. Those typically have first syllable stress for the noun and second syllable stress for the verb. Another example would be produce, like fruits and vegetables, and produce. I'm gonna produce some good results. I do have videos for nouns and verbs stress and some other examples like these, but basically the grammar of a noun is person, place, or thing, and a verb is an action. Thank you for that question. We have a question about the word conceptualization, and question whether it's an a or a schwa. So if you're talking about in the Asian syllable, we pretty much always use the diphthong a in words that end with Asian: consideration, evaluation, etc. And we also stress on that, so it's a clear vowel. In your word conceptualization, maybe you're asking about conceptualization or conceptualization. I would probably say it conceptualization with an ization. Conceptualization. But I do think that it's also correct to say conceptualization. That sounds to me a little bit more British, and conceptualization sounds a little more American. So an I or a schwa, like you said, conceptualization. Let's check in the dictionary and just verify that both are correct. A similar word would be, for example, like visualization or visualization. So the question was about whether this letter I is going to be a reduced vowel, an or an I, or the clear I vowel. You definitely will hear native speakers saying both. Let's see whether or not they're correct when they do the I-zation. I think they probably are. So in terms of dictionaries, I like using the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, and I'll just show you, if you're wondering about dictionaries, you can go to my website, speechmodification.com. You go to our free practice area and you can see that there's a search box here. If I type in the word dictionary or any other word, it's going to pop up with all the lessons related to that. And then here is my lesson about using online dictionaries. There I have a link for Oxford Learners Dictionaries, which will type in your word conceptualization. Long word, conceptualize. So when we say conceptualize, we do the I's, and then let's see if they actually even have conceptualization. Conceptual. Now I'm having typing problems. All right, sorry about the delay here. So we're typing in conceptualization. And yeah, all right, well, they don't actually have that in this dictionary. Let's look at something else like contextualization. It'll have the same patterning. So as I suggested, in British English, they're saying contextualization, so it would probably be the same for conceptualization, and American English, conceptualization. That's true also for like organization. British English would say organization, American English, organization. So probably if you want to use American English, you want to use an I or a schwa, a reduced vowel in that syllable. Okay, that was kind of a long detour, but it can be really useful to use the dictionary and to be able to recognize the symbols there. So that lesson on my website, I'll put that in the description for this video after we're finished, so you can use that as a resource to help you with rhythm and pronunciation of vowel sounds and other sounds. Thank you for that question. Okay, we have a question about the words nuisance and nuance. So in nuisance, we have nuisance and nuance. So for nuisance, I would rewrite it as nuisance, and nuance as nuance. So the difference here, nuisance, we have, for both, we have the nu stressed syllable. For nuisance, we have an S and then either an I or almost no vowel here, nuisance, since I'm going to move very quickly from the S to my n's. It's almost a syllabic that end there, nuisance. In nuance, this letter A is going to do the ah vowel. And then we're also going to have the n's at the end. When I'm moving from nu to ance, nuance, I'll be gliding between those, and there's a bit of a w glide in there, nuance, because I'm moving from the rounded to the unrounded, nuance. Whereas in nuisance, I don't need any connection there because I have this sound between the two. So same first stress syllable, first one nuisance, second one nuance. Great question. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a question about the words, let's see. If you're in America and you want to get in Australia, in this case, get, be, or I can't say that. If you're in America and you want to, you would say be, you want to be in Australia, not get in Australia. You can say get to somewhere. I need to get to the meeting. But if you're going to be somewhere, you aren't going to get somewhere. You're not going to get in. I get in something, I would get in a pool or get in a car, but I don't get in a country. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to know which verbs to use there. So thank you for that question. All right, we have a question about very versus vary. In my dialect of English, these are the same, and they both have the air diphthong, first syllable stress. They sound like there, like the word air plus E, very. In some dialects of English, this AR might sound more like vary. Like a New York dialect is going to say vary and Larry, and then vary for this one. But I think your best bet is to go with air, vary for both of them. That's probably more standard for most broad American English dialects. And it's easy to remember. You just work on your air in both words. So I'm very happy even when my audience varies. The selection can vary. It's very important to pay attention to the menu. Just some examples of those words. Okay, thank you for that request. We have a question about, in general, what stress patterns are for adverbs and adjectives. So adjectives, so in general, it's hard to make generalizations about stress for words. If we have a noun and adjective, for example, there was record heat. It follows the same pattern as the noun versus the verb, so first syllable stress. It was a record day. We had record heat, record sales. But of course, I have all kinds of different adjectives and adverbs. So for example, if I have, well, sad is one syllable stress. So let me think of a lovely, for example, first syllable stress. But unfortunately, because we get our words from so many different sources, stress patterns aren't the same. Generally speaking, a good guess for a noun is first syllable stress, probably same for adjective. Adverb, quickly, it's often also first syllable stress or first or second, because the ALLY or the ly that makes something an adverb is not going to be stressed. But there are also, of course, adverbs and adjectives that don't have those patterns. So if you have more specific words you'd like to know about, I can talk about that. In general, recognizing how to look up the stress in a dictionary is really helpful, and how to listen for stress patterns, also very helpful. Okay, great. We have a question about the word hemorrhage. So you spelled it with A-E. In American English, we spell it just with the E. So one M, hemorrhage, with two R's. So two options here with hemorrhage. I can go slowly, hemorrhage, 3 syllables. Most native speakers in American English are going to do 2 syllables there. They're going to reduce this middle R, and it's going to sound like first syllable stress, hemorrhage, or hemorrhage with a schwa. So what you want is first vowel is like get or said, the F vowel, just like in the word hem, hemming, the hem of clothing. And then you can either do hemorrhage. We'll have that J sound that we often spell with letter J. More likely, you're going to hear people say hemorrhage. He's hemorrhaging. He had a hemorrhage. We have to try to avoid brain hemorrhage. So yeah, we can use a kind of a reduced I or vowel in that second syllable. Yeah, great request. Thank you so much. I may have covered that in my medical words playlist, and if not, I'll add it to the list to do a little more detailed video on for you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your request. Okay. Hello, Hector. Welcome, one of our channel members. He would like to hear about oil, trial, and royal. So oil, trial, and royal. Interesting, good point. Different ways of spelling. Let's start with royal, because the spelling makes the most sense here. We have that oi diphthong, which we write as, you'll see it like this in the dictionary. It's not really an ah and an e, but I'm moving from a start position similar to the ah and ending in a start position similar to the I. Oi, oi. So starting from oi, and then add your R, oi, roy. And then when I'm moving from royal, I'm thinking about royal. That y sound kind of glides between the two. So the IPA would be roy. They might just put it like that in the dictionary, or they might have a y glide there, royal. The reason I wanted to start with that is that even though oil doesn't have the letter Y, we do something similar. It's kind of like oil, almost like 2 syllables as well, with that y connecting the oi and the ul. And then trial, same thing. Even though we don't have an oi in there, we have the try with the I diphthong, which starts in the ah and ends in the I. And then because we have that dark L with the schwa, the ul sound, again, we have a little bit of a y glide in between. So that one I would think about like trial, oil, royal. Hector, my video about vowel to vowel linking might be helpful for you. I don't know if I sent you a link to that yet. I may have talked about that in our members class, but I do have some videos and a free lesson on the website that talks about when we go from a rounded oi or the I, yo, how we have that y glide connecting before the dark L. My videos for dark L might be helpful for you as well. So if that didn't help you and clear it up enough, we can talk about it tomorrow in our members class. I can also leave you some comments and links for some more lessons that might be helpful for you. Thanks so much for your question and for being a channel member. I do really appreciate the support. Okay, other questions. We had a question about whether or not I can do a chemistry list. I do have a medical list. Yes, I will take requests for words for chemistry. I generally use kind of broader terms that are accessible to everyone, but I'm definitely open to suggestions. And I'm working my way through many requests from Word of the Day. So do just make your specific requests for things related to chemistry, and that can get added to the list. It might be a little while before we can cover them, though. Okay, thank you. We have a question about the word meticulous. So meticulous. So we have second syllable stress, which means that our first letter E is going to be more of a schwa. Meticulous. You heard me say it more than one way. I said meticulous and meticulous and meticulous. This is really more of a y, a schwa, than a u, but if I'm just saying the word by itself, it might have a little bit of an u sound. So I would rewrite that like meticulous. Here, you're going to go for less or lis. Almost no vowel. Go as quickly as you can from the l sound to this sound. And you're having unstressed schwas in the rest of the syllables. Meticulous. You might also see this as a mi with a unstressed I sound in the first syllable. The most important thing is that I'm short and reduced there, and my stress is on the tick, meticulous. And then you had another word, another question, which was schizophrenia. So again, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is stressed on the phren syllable. The letters CH say the k sound. We have a I for the letter I, schiza. You might hear some people say this with a little more of an O, schizophrenia. In fast speech, though, we're going to have a reduced vowel there, a schwa. So far we have skits. We might actually have a TZ here, skit with a stopped T, schiza. And then our stress comes on the phren syllable. So we have the PH says the F sound. We have the like red. And then we have an E in our final syllables. So phren, E, schizophrenia. Yeah, that's a tough word. Spelling is a little bit challenging, and translating that spelling into English sounds. Thank you for that request. Very good. Schizophrenia. Okay, wonderful. Great questions today. We do have a couple more that I'll take and then we'll wrap up. So we have a question about the word detritus. Do you pronounce the last vowel sound with schwa or I? Detritus. That's a good example of, in that word, I can use either. So if I'm saying detritus, I think probably often with the us at the end, I use more of an I there, detritus. First, it's stressed on the trite syllable, but you can use either here. And that's because the most important thing is that this is a reduced vowel, that I have same thing with the DE actually. I can either say detritus or detritus. And some people tend towards more of a schwa and some tend towards more of an I in general in these unstressed syllables. There are a few words where it matters which one you use. This is a word where it doesn't matter in either case. You can hear if I use the I both times, detritus or detritus, what you hear is the clear try syllable has the length, and these reduced vowels don't matter too much. If we look at the position for those vowels, the I is a little higher and the is a little more central. And I would say the reduced vowel tends to be even somewhere in between those two sometimes, detritus. It's really just not a clear vowel. So I don't want detritus or detritus. I don't want either of those. I want a really short reduced sound. So if I'm using the detritus or the detritus, I'm just really reduced on both of them. This is something that comes up often. People ask about this question. I have a couple of videos talking about it, but just know that you really want to use kind of a reduced vowel there for those unstressed syllables, and it doesn't matter too much if you have I or That's a great question. Thank you so much. Okay. We have a question about how to pronounce TH after a word like do. I can do that, or I can do this. So if you're doing the oo to the TH, do that, do this, you can kind of link those together. Do this, do that. So I'm just moving from the oo shape and putting my tongue forward for the TH shape. Ooh, this, do that, do this. So you might find it helpful to do a word like smooth, ooth, where you have to do the oo sound and the th sound. Smooth has the same ooth as do this, do this. You can also make a little break, do this. I don't have to glide them together fully, but basically just want to make sure you have the correct tongue position for that th sound. Great request. Okay, thank you so much. Wonderful to see so many of you here today, and great questions. If you're watching this as a replay, you can leave a question in the comments and I'll get back to you with an answer, either sending you to a video where I've already answered it, or I'll add your word to my list to cover in a future class. I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class, and next Saturday we'll have our live question and answer class. Thanks so much for liking, for sharing the videos, leaving your comments. It really does help the channel grow, and I appreciate it a lot. Thanks so much also to our subscribers, and especially our channel members. Your support is wonderful. If you're interested in subscribing or joining as a channel member, you can click the join button and learn a little bit more about some of the perks I offer. Do also check out our online courses on speechmodification.com. All of our courses are either free or available for under $2, and you can find them right on the page. Very simple. You can also see here on our website, speechmodification.com, that we do have free practice areas, so you can explore a lot of free lessons and videos there. And then our courses here on the courses page are, again, free or available for under $2. I would say one of the best foundational courses for you is our Sounds of English course. That goes through every sound of American English and really helps you build a strong foundation. Talks about accent error patterns, spelling and sounds, a lot of the types of things we cover here. Our Word of the Day course is a free course that has our Word of the Day videos and definitions, so it's a good way to explore and maybe catch some of the Word of the Day videos you missed. Our Accent Mini course is a free course that teaches you about some lessons and shows you some examples of what are in the other courses to help you choose a course for you. And our 6-week course focuses a little bit more on American accent, how to practice and develop overall fluent speech. And then, of course, we have some more specific courses for specific languages, as well as our Real Talk course, more of an advanced course looking at linking fluent sounds, how Americans really speak fluently. So all of those are on speechmodification.com. And again, I keep the price very inexpensive for you just because I know many people can't afford to invest in one-on-one accent training or something more expensive, but many of you are here trying to improve and learn. So do check out those online courses as a resource as well. Thanks, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in our Word of the Day and next Saturday in our live question and answer class. It was wonderful to see so many of you. Thanks for the great questions. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.